And what's next for Newport as with the chaos at the federal level? And you want to create this welcoming, close knit community that's committed to opportunity. How are you going to do that in the with the big macro trends that are pushing us apart?
We're an island down here in Newport, but I don't think that the mentality we have is one that's terribly separate from what every community needs to take on, which is we have a challenge in front of us. And despite the fact that the tide might be running against us right now, we still need to figure out how to get from A to B. I'm a sailor, and so I'm very used to the winds not being favorable to me, to the tide not being quite right. But you have to figure out how to move forward consistently. That's where it takes smart people stepping in and being willing to serve in government when it's not comfortable. This is not easy work. You should not take on this work, like I said earlier, if your primary objective is being popular, being able to do fun things. If you're willing to roll up your sleeves and to work hard to find solutions, government is the place for you, and we need help now. I'll give you an example of a pretty serious change we made with a focus on ensuring that this community is able to help pick itself up from its bootstraps to move forward. And that's on the issue of resiliency. We are an island community on the front lines of climate change. And so, whether it's dealing with flooding in our communities, both on the low lying areas where you have sea level rise impacting us, or at the higher elevations, where just per nature of being a city that is densely populated, we have severe stormwater challenges. Or looking at things like some of our beaches, which not only serve as an important amenity and part of our community identity, but also serve as the barrier between the Atlantic Ocean and our public drinking water supply. We need to move urgently to protect these assets, to protect our neighborhoods, and to ensure that this community is one that is here in the long term. And so, what we did is reorganize city government. In a lot of cities in America, they have a resilience and sustainability director. And this tends to look a bit more like a policy position, somebody that helps put together reports, maybe pursues grants. We felt very strongly that this needed to be more than just a one off addition to the team. This had to be a core central part of our team and a core central tenet with how we make decisions. And so we took our city government and we reorganized it into three major departments. The first is administration and finance, the second is public safety, and the third is resiliency and sustainability. And in that final department is any part of the city that has anything to do with building anything in the city, ensuring that when we build things in the future, whether it is a new roadway or utility line, whether it's a new housing development, that is being done with an eye towards, is this something that we're going to be able to continue supporting for the next several generations? That's a fundamental change in the mindset that we have in terms of how government goes out and addresses problems. And I'm proud of the work that we're doing here.
And has it changed how some of these projects are developed or even done in the first place?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is impacting right now. We're going through zoning changes, and we're looking at how a lot of those decisions are getting made, including looking at things like permeable surfaces, right? For example, it's always exciting to see a new home getting constructed in the neighborhood because we know that housing is a priority, but we need to think really carefully about what happens to your neighbor down the street if you have a yard that's hardscaped, or you build out that building footprint so there's very little lawn area to help absorb the rainwater that's coming down. So every decision, whether it's investing in better stormwater infrastructure or thinking about things like our building and zoning codes, all add up to impacting the quality of life that people have here every day on challenges like resiliency.